that if I want to center the CDI at my current position is here, and if I want to send, how can I center my CDI? If I start flying right and once I intercept the 045 radial, my CDI will be centered. Now but that is not my current position. I have shifted my position from the radial 050 to 045 for that to happen. If I want to center the CDI on this current radial of 050, how can I do that?
Change the OBS to 050.
Very good. I have to change the OBS to 050. When I change the OBS to 050, now I am on 050, so automatically the needle will get centered, right? So if I want to center needle at the current position, what am I supposed to do? I have to OBS 050, which is my current radial. Yeah, track from the station, which is the radial. Any other method? Any other way of centering? You can OBS something else also, and to center it.
That we can.
There's another radial which you can OBS to center the. That's right. So exactly the opposite radial. So your current radial is 050, not opposite to OBS radial. Your current radial is 050. What is the opposite radial?
230.
230. Now think about it. When you OBS 230, you are still on the radial. This time you are on the tail side of 230. That's all. You are on the head of 050 and on the tail of 230, and therefore doesn't matter if you OBS 050 or 230, it's going to center the radial. So I can OBS 050 and I can also OBS
230. So, but now the things, the indication and sensing will change.
It's going to change. Yeah, so let's see the changes here. Now imagine that I'm going to OBS 050. What is going to be the sensing? If I OBS 050, now I am on the head side, moving to the station. Therefore, what's the sensing?
Reverse sensor.
Reverse sensing. What is the flag? When I OBS 050, I'm on the head side of the 050, and therefore to the from flag, right? What is the CDI indication? CDI indication will be
0 degree.
Yeah, it will be the center. CDI is centered because you have OBS your own radial, and therefore no action is required. You're already on the OBS radial. Now, if I OBS 230, what is the CDI indication? The CDI indication is still centered. If you OBS 050 or if you OBS 230, your CDI will be centered, right? But what about sensing? If I OBS 230, now I am on the tail side of 230, moving to the station. Therefore, what sensing is it?
Forward sensing.
Forward or command sensing or normal sensing, right? What about the flag?
It will be
2 flag, because since I am OBS 230, I am on the tail side, 2 side, and therefore it's 2. So I am on the tail side moving to a station. That's why sensing is command sensing, and you have a CDI center. So if I want to center the CDI at the current position with the from flag, you see, I have to OBS 050. I cannot OBS 230. I will get it centered, but I won't get a from flag. So look at the question. If they're asking you what should be OBS to center the CDI, 050 and 230. But if you want to OBS, if you want to center the CDI with a particular flag, you have to now look at the respective OBS. If you OBS 050, you can have it centered with a from flag. If it is 230, you can have it OBS with a to flag. So if flag is given, you should know what to OBS. If no flag is given, you can OBS both and still center the CDI. Make sense?
yes.
Yes, understood? Right. All right. Let me also draw RMI indication for this question. Not any of these things. You have to note this one. Huh? You can note this as a separate point, and you can then draw how the RMI would look like and how the HSI would look like for the same question.
Like suppose if some pilot gets lost on that. And now he wants to know, he can't contact ATC or someone. Now he wants to know that on which particular radial he is flying. So he can just continuously change the knob OBS and the time it comes in center, that will be his particular
Exactly.
radial.
Yes, that's right. So you keep turning and use, that is where this is actually used. If you want to know which radial you are on, just turn the knob, and once the CDI is centered, look at the OBS, you are on that radial. That is why the CDI is centered. When I center, in this case, if I turn the knob, I center the CDI, but I'm having a 2 flag, which means I have OBS, I'm on that particular radial, but on the tail side of it, which means it is this is 230, which means I am on this side, therefore I'm on a radial of 050. If I OBS a particular 050, then I get a from flag, which means yes, I'm exactly on the same radial, the head of the radial, right? I will be on the head of the radial when I get a from flag. That is how you will be able to know. Understood? Let's look at the RMI indication. So the center of the RMI is the aircraft. What is the head of the RMI?
240 heading.
Is the heading, which is 240, and RMI indicates QDM. So what is the QDM of the aircraft?
It is 230.
230. That is magnetic track to the station. This is the opposite radial, which is 230, right? So this is 240, so the 230 is here,
Yeah.
which is the QDM.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Perfect. If you have an NDB here, and the aircraft had an ADF, then what will the RBI indicate? You see, the RBI is exactly what looks like this. The needle is exactly what we see. Only thing is the head of the RBI is the nose of the aircraft, which is 0, right? Then the needle will be rotated by an amount equal to relative bearing. And what is the relative bearing here? The heading of the aircraft is 240, the track is 230. From the heading, measure to the track is a drift here. What's the drift?
Port drift.
That is 10 degrees of port drift. You can see the track is 10 degrees port of heading. Towards the station with 10 degrees port drift, the RBI will indicate 360 minus 10, right? Therefore it is 350.
2000.
That is what the RBI, just in case if you have an NDP, just in case, right? Alright, now if we combine this RMI with CDI, that's when we get this third guy here, which is the HSI. And what is the head of HSI? Is the heading. The heading is the only parameter that is missing on this CDI, so we introduce heading there. Now the center of the dial is again the aircraft, the circle. Now what we do is we try to find out where the 045 here is on this dial with 240 coming here. If this is 240, what is the exact opposite?
060.
060. Why I'm writing the exact opposite? It will help you actually to orient where 045 is. So this is 240, therefore this is going to be 330, 90 degrees, and this is going to be 60. So 45 is somewhere going to be here. A 045, which is the OBS radial. Now is it clear why I have marked 045 here? With respect to 240 being here, 045 should be here, right? Now what I do is I take the CDI, I rotate it, and I bring the 045 there. That's all what I do, right? So what happens here, you can see the sensing is only reverse sensing. Let's see what happens when the heading is incorporated. You take this whole dial and you bring it all the way here. So now this is how the dots will look like, right? And what happens to the needle, which is currently on the left of the aircraft? When you bring 45 here, this is going to be on the right. 1 to 2.5 dots. So this is the first dot, second dot, 2.5. So be very careful with this dots. Always mark the dots. It will make your life easier. Sorry. Oh.
From 04.
Yes. So now you see, what is the CDI indicating? The CDI is asking you to fly right. And what are you supposed to do? You're also supposed to fly right, which means by incorporating the heading, we have removed that problem of reverse sensing on an HSI because you've reversed it already. Yes. What about the flag? The flag that is towards the OBS is the to flag, and away from the OBS is the from flag. Right. So since this is the needle here, I can either mark a to flag and I can also mark a from flag that is away from here. What flag is it? It's a from flag Therefore, this is the flag that is highlighted. So look out for an arrow that is away from this OBS radial. This is how the HSI would look like. Because especially for ATPL, sometimes they end up giving 4 different dials and asking you to pick up the right dial with respect to situation given the question. So in that case, you probably have to. So always fix the heads first. Whatever dial is given, always look at the head. Correct the head. You might be able to take out at least 2 options in that case, so instantly, and then work on the others. Think about it. If, say for example, if I keep the aircraft, if I think, say for example, the aircraft is, say, 120 nautical miles from the VOR. What is the distance of the aircraft from the selected radial? So basically, you have to find out the distance of the aircraft from the selected radial. 120 nautical miles from the VOR. Yes. So how do you find that?
Like 1 in 60, or we can use.
First check whether you can apply 1 in 60 or not. So look at this angle here.
It's 5 degrees.
It's 5 degrees. Therefore, I can apply 1 in 60. Right?
It will act as tracker.
It's more like closing angle, but yes, you can even take it as tracker. It's okay. It doesn't really matter because you're coming towards the station, right? So applying 1 in 60, you can see closing angle or tracker is equal to distance off by distance to go
120
into 60. Now, you don't necessarily have to use this equation, because if you think about it, you're 120 nautical miles away from station with a 5 degree error or angle. So if you were 60 nautical miles away, you would have been 5 nautical miles off. And since you are 120 nautical miles away, you will be 10 nautical miles off. You can think in that way, or if you want, you can apply the equation as well. You have to find the distance off by distance to go is 120, and that's probably because you have a DME associated here. You can imagine a DME which is giving the distance information as well, right? Into 60, and what is the closing angle? Closing angle is 5 degrees, 050 and 045. Therefore, you will get the distance of as 10 nautical miles. So